Welcome to the Retrospect podcast, a show where people come together from different walks of life and discuss a topic from their generation's perspective. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Jason.
Hello, everyone.
And Stoney.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
What's
Good.
going on, man?
Yeah.
Almost done with January.
Yes.
This is crazy.
That's right.
Yeah. So today we have, I remember you had mentioned something, Stoney, about you reading something from Miranda. I think
Yeah,
is what you
Miranda
said.
sent me an article and said this would make a great topic for an episode.
Okay.
And it's from the Daily Mail News. And it's a staggering 19.6% of U.S. office space is unoccupied, emptier than any other point in the last 40 years. And they are attributing this drastic shift due to the pandemic, work from home lifestyle, and years of overbuilding and the office market decline of the 80s and 90s. What do y'all think about that? That's a lot of empty office space in America.
Well, I know I see it around here a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
The old Blue Cross Blue Shield building that had thousands and thousands and thousands of employees and cars, they had their own bus system to transport people across the parking lots. Now the most you'll see over there is 10 cars.
Everybody's working from home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
This working from home stuff, I mean, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on it. I know people get really defensive about it, but there are consequences for this.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I've talked to lawyers, I've talked to engineers, I've talked to a variety of professions, and about one of the things I talk about is they have all this building space and 2/3 of the building is empty.
Right.
And that's expensive
Yeah.
to maintain that. So it's like, you know, what does that mean for commercial real estate in downtown areas? I mean, you've seen what's going on in San Francisco, the amount of vacant buildings that are because of all the other socioeconomic conditions going on in that city, and it's happening in others. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how. I don't know how that's going to play out long term. Even though I think we'll see a return more to the office.
Yeah. I think I
hope so.
But I don't know. Maybe things could shift and things could change, but I'm not sure. I don't think things are going to probably go back to the way it was.
You don't?
Mm-mm. I mean, maybe, but I think with AI and with a lot of stuff being digital now, and I think a lot of people like the freedom of working freely, I think that there are certain businesses that I don't think they'll ever go back to it, because I don't think they'll ever want to. Now, it's one of those situations where, like, I feel like now that some big companies have relieve themselves of the cost of upkeeping a building and all the stuff that comes up with that, as long as they can keep their employees happy with being from home and can get things in a productive way finished, I don't think that some places will go back. But I could be wrong. I could be very wrong.
Well, we'll see.
Right.
Just for a reference, the lowest percentage of vacant offices happened in 1976 at approximately 6%.
That's crazy.
Well, they got all kind of different art, on commercial real estate of, kind of what's going on there. But,
well, you think about it, that's 20% of all office space in America is empty. So who's not making money on that? Well, real estate agents or managers run that and make money based off of what they lease out. So somebody's not making money there. Then whoever owns the building is not making money there by not having it leased out. So is this going to be more of a widespread trickle-down effect that's going to affect more and more people? If you're not leasing it, do you then pay the landscaper? Or do you just not have it landscaped as much as you were until you lease it? So, who else? Who else gets affected by this?
Well, I have an article here. It's titled "The Empty Downtown:
Wow,
A New Normal."
Wow.
By
Leave
Katharina
it to Jason.
By Katharina Bullschultz. And this is dated April 14th of 2023.
Wow.
So it said the American West Coast has been hit especially hard by the phenomena as its numerous tech companies pivoted to fully remote work more aggressively. The University of Toronto data shows that apart from San Francisco, downtown activity has also stayed far below pre-pandemic levels in Portland, Oregon, 37%, Seattle, 44%, Oakland, California, 49%. Only 4 out of 62 analyzed downtowns surpassed their 2019 activity levels.
Wow.
Salt Lake City, Bakersfield, and Fresno in California, as well as El Paso, Texas. So
I think that my gut tells me that it won't go back to the way it was because of technology and things. But like the more I sit here and think about it, like there may be some jobs that will, or there's some teams. I guess the reason why I said the first thing that I said was I think it comes from like a pessimistic outlook of like it hasn't gotten better, and I don't think it's going to get better because of technology. Because that's the thing that pivoted us to this direction is technology and moving us quote unquote forward. Forced progression through the pandemic and stuff like that. But to be honest, like if I try to think reasonably and I think a little more optimistically as well, there are I think some jobs. Some teams that I think would work well with being in an office space together, but I just don't know.
Well, it says here many major population centers in the U.S. and Canada were still recording much less activity than before the pandemic. Los Angeles looks like has gained back about 2/3 of its former life, and they measure that by cell phone activity.
Really?
But other downtowns like in Chicago, Vancouver, and British Columbia, Seattle, and San Francisco are now at most half as active as they had been before the pandemic. The lull also affects boom towns of former years like Denver, Atlanta, and Houston. They said, according to a report from the San Francisco Chronicle, at home in the most affected city in the analysis, it all started with workers that did not return to downtown offices after the pandemic ebbed, instead preferring and convincing their employers to work fully remote, either from cheaper suburbs or from outside of any urban center. This is causing vacant office blocks, decreasing ridership on public transport, and less money spent on lunchtime or after-work activities, decreasing business revenue, in turn, the city's tax income. So,
but when we're talking about a trickle-down effect, too, think about there you go. You said food, restaurants. People aren't, you're shutting down small mom-and-pop restaurants and food trucks and things like that survive on people going to these offices. Who else is going to be affected by this?
Well, it said Arpit Gupta of the NYU Stern School of Business, who was interviewed by the Chronicle, said that this could make downtowns appear even more unattractive as city services might have to be cut. Empty transit could be seen as more dangerous, and ultimately the number of downtown amenities like shops and restaurants could decrease, prompting even more workers to wave goodbye to a certain city. Hybrid work, however, has the power to keep time workers to downtowns, but this normally requires high-quality office space. Another idea is to draw people into city centers as tenants or visitors by focusing of livability factors and creating experiences that people crave. I don't know. I just think people want to stay home.
Yeah, you're right.
I think people just want to stay home. They want to be home with their pets.
We had a previous episode on that.
That's right.
Now, there's some places that are going the other direction. Palm Beach and Fort Lauderdale. Palm Beach went from 28% to 14.2% in 23, and Fort Lauderdale went from 28.1 to 18.9%. So that's a different coast.
Right.
A little further south. I don't know what that could be, but,
well,
that's interesting.
I've got some more. I got something else here I found interesting. I mentioned cell phone activity. Here's a chart I'm looking at. Cell phone activity in downtown areas of selected North American cities in the fall of 2022. And this is a percentage of the 2019 activity. So Los Angeles is at 65% of what it was in 2019. Atlanta is 61%. Denver, 59%. Boston, 54%. Chicago, 50%. Vancouver, 47%. Seattle, 44%. And San Francisco, 31%. I think the problems in San Francisco go much deeper than just people refusing to go to work downtown. I think they've got major issues with homelessness and just some of the stories I've seen of what some of these homeless encampments are.
Oh yeah,
fentanyl is running rampant.
You got
San Francisco
people
right
accosting people that are walking down the sidewalk. I mean, it's just they've just kind of let it. They've just let it go.
Mm-hmm.
To a point where it's like people don't even want to go down there.
Yeah. That's crazy.
I never thought I would ever see America like this. I mean, it's just very depressing to a degree. It's like, how do we allow our cities to get so bad?
Yeah.
What happened there?
It's getting rough. It doesn't look like it's going to get changed very quickly either.
Right. Maybe that's why I kind of came across as a bit, like I said, a little pessimistic at the beginning, because I don't know. It doesn't seem like people want to change. Even if the job does, I don't think people want to change. But I think that's where the push may be, where the employers may have to.
Yeah, Stoney, I think you mentioned that. Said I'm reading this, and you may have already addressed this. It said office vacancies hit a record high in the fourth quarter of last year, surpassing previous peaks last reached in 91 and 86, according to data from Moody's Analytics.
Well, there's something else, we keep talking about this trickle-down effect, okay? So somebody owns this building, and they've got a loan on it, and now they can't pay the loan back. So now are we causing more stress on the banking industry?
Right.
Where who all is being affected by this, and it's somebody's going to wind up paying for it, and apparently it's going to be the U.S. tax dollar.
Right.
Learn how luxury, social conditioning, and psychology influence our behavior every Friday on the Luxury Mind podcast. Unravel myths and explore unseen influences with a healthy dose of humor. Join the Luxury Mind podcast on YouTube and on all major podcast platforms.
Yeah, it says even though 2023 was largely a year of companies and organizations calling people back into the office, we're not seeing that it's typically the standard 5 days a week back. Hybrid models and flexibility has just become the new thing now. Most employees, that's one of the things they're asking when they come in is, can I work remote?
Well, I think a big thing.
Can I work part here in the office and part at home? So, just like you said, I know, Ian, you said you don't see it changing, and I can see that.
Yeah.
Because I experience it, within my own work, and
right.
I know people that work from home, or come in maybe once or twice a week, or whatever the case may be, and then they work from home. So I don't know how all that works, but
for me, it's like I think a lot of my generation specifically wants to have a better work home life balance.
Right.
And I think some of that may be a factor of that, where people want to have the ability to be at home for reasons, for pets, for children, for whatever it may be. So I get some of the reasoning behind it, but then there's the other factor of it where it's like, is it just because you don't want to go into an office space, or all the other reasons behind it? And I know we talked about, I don't know if you want to continue with what you're saying, but I know we talked about this. By the time this episode's coming out, I think it will have, it's kind of old news now, or at least a week old. But we were talking about like a local Starbucks of ours got unionized because of, and a lot of it being because of wage discrepancy issues, scheduling. I think the big thing is scheduling. I think they tried to mark down 3 different things to make it feel a little more credible. But like Starbucks is a company, from at least what I know, like the wages aren't bad.
They're better than minimum wage, substantially better than minimum wage.
But I think they are equal to most of fast food chains. And as far as like equality and all that kind of stuff, I think they do a great job with equality on all fronts. And so that was another thing they had said. But then they said equal scheduling, I think, was another big.
Was it diversity? I think they used the word diversity in there.
Diversity, which I mean, that may just be the area that they are in, the reason why they don't have some diversity. But as a company, you want to talk about a company that has been open to diversity.
Well, that's what I find strange.
Their whole premise is based on diversity and just the love of coffee.
Everything from, like, I knew that they have programs at Starbucks for people that are U.S. veterans, to where like you can take leave off of work for reasons. You can, like, they even have special pins and things, and to show respect towards people that are either, if you are related to someone, like if you're a spouse of someone that is in the military, or if you are in the military yourself, you have a job there that you can, like, if you're immediately out of the Army or your service, you can get a job, like, there. And so, like, as far as diversity in that front, as well as everyone in the LGBT community, and even people of color, they don't discriminate. So the reason why they brought that up makes me feel like that's possibly that store issue, I think. But then they started bringing up the fact that they dealing with scheduling issues, which I'm not sure what's going on in their context specifically. So maybe stuff that's going on, but I get worried about,
Well, they listed that one third, and they listed the other the 2 socially offensive. They wanted to get your blood boiling, and then they popped the truth out. They want better schedules,
right.
And that's what it is. They used the other 2 to get your blood boiling, and then, okay, well, at least we could do this for them.
Right, of course.
So
anyways, but there's a whole lot of stuff that goes on with that feels like they're I don't understand some of it, like you're complaining at that point. I feel like, where it's, and I could be wrong, but it feels like you have a decent enough job, but at the same time, it is a job in the service industry. I think they do a good job of taking care of you. and I'm not talking about every service industry job. I'm not talking about every fast food chain. Like I know people that have worked at Starbucks, and it's not the best job in the world, but it's also not awful, and they do take care of you as long as you apply yourself. And I just don't understand why there's this like push towards like, you need more, when in reality, like if I don't mean this to be rude, but like that job is a service industry job, and it is a job that is doing good at taking care of you, even though it is a like a beginner level job.
Well, here's my question to
It's
that.
an entry-level job.
That's exactly where I was going.
Right.
This is an entry-level job. This is not a career. You're not going to raise your family on this.
But the
these
thing
fast
is,
food people coming in saying, well, we need $15 an hour or $20 an hour because I can't support my family.
Right.
Well, you're not going to an entry-level job to support your family. You're going to this entry-level job to gain experience, possibly, hopefully, some manager experience, and then you take that and you go somewhere else, and then you find your career job, and you use that experience that you gained from these entry-level jobs. It's like in California. They just raised the minimum wage to $20 an hour in one area. What did Pizza Hut do?
Fired all the drivers.
They laid all the drivers off.
Yep.
They kept just enough people to make the pizzas and says people can come get them now.
Right.
So are you trying to? Is it greed? Is it just not wanting to do more with your life?
I think it's a number. I think it's a number of things. The thing is, you're talking about like bigger jobs or like that, the next career path. I think that's a problem. In at least from what I know, is finding out what your career path is, or finding what that next bigger job is. A lot of people in my age demographic, at least, like either we went to college and we have a degree that can't get us a job in the area that we wanted to get in, or it won't pay us enough, or we never went to college because it was a scam or whatever you want to say that it was. And it's like at this point now, there's a lot of people that at least I know that like have a decent job or are working at a job that's like that where it is a quote unquote entry level job they're trying to make into something that's bigger. So, and I don't know everyone's context. I don't know everyone's situation. I don't want to talk about, that, like I said, specifically Starbucks. I know that it may be an entry level job, but they treat you as if it's not. They treat you as if it could be a career. And
that's a great thing. That's a good thing.
And that's what I'm saying. But
let's concentrate on that.
Right. So there's like I don't know. There's a whole other world of like the whole fast food restaurant industry of.
I kind of think these kind of businesses eventually are going to phase out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I do.
Well, you know what? There was a movie that had that in it, Demolition Man. Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes, when he saved this man's life, and the man was going to take him to Taco Bell because Taco Bell won the fast food
the franchise wars.
The franchise wars.
If I remember that line, they won the franchise wars.
Have y'all watched that one, Ian, on your other podcast, Demolition Man? That was a pretty
That's
good
a good
movie.
one.
That was a good movie.
Yep. Kind of really harkening back to highest vacancy rates in 2023. 5 of the 10 cities with the highest vacancy rates in 2023 were in the South, including Houston, Dallas, Austin, Tampa, and Jacksonville.
Is New Orleans in there? I thought I heard New Orleans maybe in the top 10 or
something. It may be something else, yeah, but this was according to the Moody's. So, and you mentioned it, there was a lot of building in the South, a lot of cheap land, and they overbuilt, which is typical.
Especially in Houston and Dallas.
I mean, every piece of land, they're trying to throw up a strip mall. I mean, you've seen it. And what do all these strip malls have? They have a nail salon. They have like maybe a pawn shop or, it's just.
A bunch of restaurants or fast food chains.
Well, fast food chain. It's just.
A massage parlor.
A massage parlor is very common, So, yeah. I mean, we are, I don't know what the long-term projections on, I mean, will there be a shift back where people go back to back to an office, to a more collaborative type environment, I can see the allure of that. I mean, working from home is fine, but to me, that would get, if you're doing that all the time, to me, you kind of lose connection with people.
Yes.
Well, you know,
I think you lose connection. You lose that teamship. Like, I'm a part of a team, and if I never see these people.
I have a friend of mine. Her name is Monica, and she just retired. And she is one of the most social people on the planet. And I think it's driving her crazy not to be around people every day. At work, this for Halloween, we did this crazy thing where we would all dress up and decorate, and she would paint my face, and oddly enough, most people would never see me in that kind of thing. But one year we did the Joker, and I think she's having a hard time with retirement because she's such a social
It's hard for
person, and now she's away from that, and I love her dearly. She's amazing. Her and Miranda get along famously, and it's just I know for her this is tough. Being away from people is just tough, and I just wonder if other people are going to start missing people too like that, because being around people is fantastic.
I think that's the thing too with, like I've said about, you know, my age bracket. I think I said it on a recent episode as well. Like, I think there is a lot of loneliness in my generation and in younger generations as well, because I think that everything is online. Everything feels so immediate with, you know, online and social media and all that kind of stuff. But I think it's also the fact that you're moving away from being in an office space because you don't like working on an office space. You like being at home. You like being comfortable, like all those kind of things. And I think there are, I wouldn't be surprised if with this push towards, you know, staying home more or working from home more, that like subconsciously people will start to realize that they're
you
probably
can work
more
in
lonely.
your underwear at home. It's kind of inappropriate to work in your underwear at the office. So.
Right. I think that's, and I hate to say it, but it's a degree of laziness.
Yes,
I mean,
absolutely.
It really is, because look, I mean, traditionally you got to get up. I got to take a shower. I have to shave. I've got to, you know, get myself together.
Brush your teeth. Do
do all that stuff that, you know, which are good things, actually.
Yeah.
Because sitting around the house and I can see how that can lead to a lot of mental problems, because I mean, you need people interaction. I mean, you have to, and that's what I'm saying. You better have something else. You do.
I'm a social person. I don't know, and being in the position that I am now with this accident and not being able to work, I miss people.
Yeah.
I miss the people that I work with. I went, I had to take an Uber to, because I'm not authorized to drive right now, to a retirement party for an amazing friend of mine who retired recently. And just connecting with all of those people again. He was actually very cordial about it, because it was his retirement party, but everybody hadn't seen me in over 6 months, and we kind of shared the time a little bit. And it was just amazing to reconnect with all of those people that I haven't seen.
Right.
And I just don't know that I would want to be one of those people to work from home all the time.
No, I mean, I could do it. I mean, I can understand maybe one day out of a 5-day work week of working from home.
That's what I have.
I would get that. I mean, but when I see like multiple days during the week,
Yeah, no.
you know, I'm like, come on. I mean,
Yeah, I currently work in an office where I technically work from home and do a lot of like emails and logistic stuff on Mondays. Because we don't do anything at the office on Mondays, so we all just kind of work from home. Or I sometimes go to the coffee shop and I work remote that way, which is nice, you know, to be able to do some work and not have to be in the office. But we do have someone that works 2 days in the office out of the week, which is crazy because it's like it's hard to get things done with that person because it's
Yeah,
hard
and-
to communicate with through email and
It's different than if the person's right there that you can grab that person. And
yeah.
than trying to communicate at home or, it just is. And I think people got spoiled. And I just, I get it. I love waking up and not having to take a shower and just sit there and pull up on a computer and
You're
work.
fixing to be able to experience that.
I'm about ready. Well, I won't be working at all.
That's what I'm saying. You're really
I'm gonna
fixing
just be off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm not.
Are you going to shave every day, or are you going to grow a beard?
Oh no, I will shave.
You will shave.
Yeah,
I used to shave every day, and I had my hair done every 2 weeks.
Right.
And as y'all are looking at me now, I've done neither.
Well, I can't let my facial hair grow that long. I just get itchy and
Yeah, I
and
need to
all
do
that.
something about this.
I will always be bald headed and shaved. It's just part of what I am,
Yeah.
and I like that clean feeling of my face
Yeah.
that way. And my hope is to take some time off and kind of see what doors open up for me, because I'm not just going to sit at home.
No,
Right.
you're not that kind of
I'm
person.
too young to sit at home and do nothing. So my hope is that some opportunities come knocking, that I will be able to turn some of my creative energies into something else.
That's
so,
awesome.
but no, I'm not going to be sitting at home. I'm still very much an outdoorsy, active type person.
Are you going to take on like a full marathon?
Yeah,
There
I think March 3rd.
you go.
I
That'll
will
be fun.
be in Little Rock, Arkansas.
At that point, you should be fully retired.
I'll be
So,
fully retired.
Yeah.
Well, matter of fact, I'm going to Melbourne, Florida before that.
Okay.
So I'm running a half marathon there. And then 2 weeks later, it's the full
There you go.
in Little Rock.
So the half marathon's a little trial,
warm
right?
up.
A little warm.
That's a warm up.
Yeah.
13.1 to 26.2.
Oh my gosh, that's got to be crazy.
Yeah.
I think you need to wear a GoPro and come back, and we'll put some of it up on the website.
Yes.
When we get the website going.
I
and
do have a GoPro at home.
There you
Really?
I do.
That's fun.
I have it. I used to wear it when I used to run my Spartan races,
Okay.
Mhm.
because those were fun to record.
Yeah.
go.
I got a few of those videos on my home computer. But
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, good stuff. But I mean, you hook a GoPro and you just pounding concrete for 20.
Oh yeah, that's.
There's not much to really, it's
Mm-hmm.
So.
Right.
But no, it'll be. I'll bring the big medal that I'm gonna come back with. And show it to
Yeah.
y'all.
Oh, that'll be cool.
So that's the only reason I'm running a full marathon. I never thought I would do this, but the medal is like massive. It like takes up your entire chest. It's so
Oh
big.
yeah, I think I've seen those before.
It's big. This race is known
Yeah.
for its medals.
Okay.
Really.
Yes,
So you just get a medal for
you finish.
for
The
finisher's
participation medal.
It's a finisher medal.
Mhm.
right. You have to
Everybody-
finish it.
It's okay.
What aggravates me in a lot of these races is they give you the same medal whether you ran 13 miles,
Yeah.
3 miles, 13 miles, or 26 miles. And I'm like, shouldn't the finisher medal kind of correspond to
Yeah.
the effort
Mhm.
that it took to accomplish that?
Make it a little bit nicer at least.
Exactly. So
Or bigger.
now the only races I look for now is I'm looking at the medal.
Right.
That's it.
Well, because at that point you get like give something to show for at least.
Exactly.
You put in the work. At least give me
I
a little
put in,
something.
like,
yeah,
That's right.
Give me a little. Give me a
I
little
just got
something.
finished running for almost 5 hours.
That's what
I
a full
think-
mile is. 5 hours.
I'm giving myself 5 hours.
Well, I mean that's still. I'm.
Oh no, they got
Even if you're
people.
being-
They got people that finish. I say 5. I mean, I'm hoping maybe I do it in 4.5 hours.
Right. I know you're giving yourself some leeway, but,
I'm
still,
giving
for me,
myself-
that's a long time to run.
I'm gonna be walking. I'm gonna be walking a little bit.
Okay, that's not
Yeah,
bad.
because I'm not. I don't know how my body is going to react.
Yeah,
psychologically, the furthest I've gone is 13. Knowing I have another 13 miles to go.
Yeah, that's a
But
big.
you know what? I have a question, and it's kind of related to the topic. A lot of the marathons happen in downtown areas.
Yes,
How
it
is this being affected by the homelessness and the drugs and
I
the
mean,
buildings being dilapidated?
I think it hasn't stopped because all of them are located in downtown areas. I think where you're seeing some of these cities that have all these issues. I mean, some might get moved, or what they do is just like what's his name, Gavin Newsom did when the leader of China came, and they cleaned the streets, cleaned out all the homelessness. They did the same thing in Memphis for the St. Jude. Before they went in there and basically moved all the homeless people out from downtown, cleaned it up. And
so you're whitewashing it.
So you're whitewashing, and then when everybody goes home, it kind of reverts back to what it always has, and which goes back to a deeper issue of cities. It's just cities are just not what they once were, and somehow we've lost the political will to do what we need to do to clean up cities. Because for the most part, a lot of them have been abandoned. The people of influence and wealth don't live in cities. They don't. They live outside the city. Whereas back in the old days, you want to live in city.
Yeah.
Well, back in the old days, you might have lived on the second floor of your store on the first floor.
So people lived in cities. And then it just, you had this out-migration probably in the 70s. In the 80s of people moving out to the burbs. Now, talk about office space. Those office spaces that are out in the burbs have actually managed to weather a lot of this stuff better because a lot of these buildings are closer to where people live.
It's convenience.
It's a lot more convenient for people to instead of driving all the way into downtown, that might take me an hour to an hour and a half.
Right.
I am 20 minutes away from an office maybe in the suburbs.
Yeah.
Okay. Or I can do it within 30 minutes. Okay. Well, I can handle that. That's not, but for a lot of people, especially these big metro areas, to drive in from where they live to go work downtown, that's an endeavor.
Yeah. I
mean, that's nothing for an hour and a half drive. Sometimes even 2 hours.
That's a mile and a half in Houston.
Just to go to work. So almost 4 hours of your day, you're sitting in a car.
Right.
Now some people in areas where they have, trains and stuff like that, where they can get on a train and actually get work done while they're en route. But you can't do that in a car.
No.
Not yet.
Not yet. So
maybe one day. But who knows?
They'll have flying cars, maybe.
They were supposed to happen by the time I reach 60, but they're not here yet.
No, I don't think they're going. Maybe we may get flying cars.
Every comic book back when I was a kid had flying cars, said, invest in this, give you 5 cents. We're going to send you the stock, and you'll be having flying cars by the time the 2020s come around. Yeah, no flying cars yet.
I don't think we're anywhere close to that.
You want to know what it is? You want to know why we don't have flying cars?
Why?
Regulation. Aviation and airspace has a lot of regulation, and that's the hard part. For a good reason.
Yeah, I mean, you think about it.
Well, can you imagine if there was this many flying cars as there on the in the air as there was?
I'm okay. So how I think you mentioned this on the previous episode. Car fatalities and crashes and stuff. I saw this and I sent this to my mom. My mom is scared of planes for numerous reasons. All of them unwarranted, I feel like, because she is she has that fear that I had once upon a time before I actually flew in a plane, of the fear of just like you are scared it's going to crash or you don't know, and it's all I think a control thing. But I wanted to read this. November 26th was and this is 2023, was the busiest day ever at airports in the USA. TSA screened 2,884,783 people on 51,332 scheduled flights. A flight took off approximately every 1.7 seconds, and there was 0 aviation accidents compared to the 373 traffic deaths during the same day.
Mm-hmm.
0 aviation accidents during basically Thanksgiving, and 373 traffic deaths.
Well,
which is crazy to think about. But so what I'm saying is, like, the reason I don't think we'll have flying cars is because it is very heavily regulated. But what I can say, though, is you want to talk about rideshare services. There is already a rideshare service. I don't want to say that because that's belittling what the actual company is. The company is building, manufacturing, and legalizing an EV helicopter that is like a plane/helicopter. It's called a VTOL, and they are putting them into like the big city areas, the big metropolitan city areas, so that way if you wanted to, you can actually get like a for a reasonable amount of money, you can get an electric helicopter plane to take you all the way across town, all the way across the state or whatever, and can ferry you between an area. You just you come to a certain location, they can fly in, of course, and take you off or whatever, or you can meet up at a certain location. And again, we're probably a handful of years away from that, but like that is something bigger that,
Well, they would have to regulate airspace
right.
where your car could.
Of course, yeah.
This is how many planes are above you right now.
Oh yeah.
I know. These maps
that's
are
crazy, and it's awesome. But at the same time, like I think it's wild. I know people are like, I can't believe we don't have flying cars. I can't believe that there's a number of people out there that are allowed to legally drive, nearly 4,000 pound, hunk of metal at almost 100 miles an hour. That's crazy to me. And the fact that we were just like all okay with that, and the only thing that keeps us separated is a few lines on the road and goodwill of all the people around you. And that's there's people that even on my way home from work today that were running red lights to try and get because of traffic and stuff.
One ran a red light in front of me this morning going to work.
Right, that's what I'm saying. And it's like that. The thing is, like, that's again drops in the bucket of the world of what like the automotive industry actually goes through and traffic incidents and stuff like that. But like, you better believe I've only done a very little bit of like learning about aviation stuff, and you got to have your stuff tip top. And if you mess up something, you're in question for it. And then and if you can't justify it or you don't have good reason to, then you can get seriously penalized for it. But that's what I'm saying. So I think that but again, like I said, all for good reason that it's all regulated. So that way, again, it is the safest form of traveling long distances.
Just remember this: as dangerous as the world is with aviation and cars, autos, ocean safety, you have a higher % chance of getting murdered by the Clintons than you do getting eaten by a great white shark in America.
Crazy.
Okay, just remember that.
Oh, just speaking of a great white shark, that you brought that up. Actually, one was pinged off the mouth of the Mississippi River.
I heard that.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
9 foot, juvenile.
Gosh.
It had swam almost like 12,000 miles. Some enormous amount of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he got to the tip, and I think he turned around and went back.
Okay.
So for whatever reason, they get to an area in the Gulf and they don't go any further. Like they don't go west. You don't find them going west past Louisiana, like toward Texas.
Maybe they like to see the clear water, and you get too much past the mouth of the Mississippi River, and the mud just cleared,
Getting that blue water out there. So
interesting.
Yeah. I know there was times when I was in Panama City and snorkeling down there, and it was Jacques Cousteau-esque. There was just so clear, and you could see so many fantastic things, but you get closer to Mississippi and Louisiana, and it's mud.
Yeah, too much of that water's churned up. You have to kind of get out a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So, It's beautiful out there. But yeah, I found that interesting with shark. And the reason I say that, why all of a sudden sharks was on my mind, because I ended up watching the Meg 2.
Oh,
The Trench.
there you
go. So yeah.
That's crazy.
Another movie for you to check out.
Yeah.
And by we digress from our topic. Yeah, I see here a commercial property sector faces severe challenge. In the first half of 2020, traditional brick and mortar retail units saw a sharp decline in footfall due to strict coronavirus lockdowns, and many retailers were forced to temporarily close their premises. So, permanent store closures are expected to increase, and retail vacancy rates jumped to 20% in the second quarter of 2020. One advantage that the commercial real estate sector has is that it can be remarkably flexible. Retail outlets can quickly become storage units. Old factories can be turned into hotels. If people continue
we've seen that around here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of retail places are all storage facilities now.
That and hotels.
Yeah, you're right.
Yep.
I didn't think about that. That's crazy.
Or condos or apartments or something.
Yeah, I read some news that there was a new hotel in Baton Rouge that opened up, which I find that interesting.
I know there's a bunch of.
Obviously, there must be a need.
There's an old CVS. I think they got turned into a storage facility now. I'm like, what? I don't
Well,
understand
I'm going to tell you, I can see the increase in storage facilities because we have so much junk.
Oh, yeah. I don't even want to get into that.
And that might even be an episode.
Yeah.
How much junk do you have?
Oh, yeah.
That would be a good episode.
Yeah.
That would be a good episode.
Because that's the reason they have so many storage. And some of these storage places are massive.
Oh, yeah. They had a big across the street from a place I used to work at. They were building this like crazy 3-story building. I had no idea what it was, and all of a sudden they slapped the logo on it. It was like storage whatever, and I was like, they just built like a 3-story, like a huge 3-story storage facility.
Think about it.
It's ugly too.
You think about it. It's low overhead.
Oh yeah.
You're not having to invest in a whole lot of just basically metal buildings.
Oh yeah. And some of them aren't even
these,
ventilated.
and these things are full because people have too much stuff. So yeah, I mean it's crazy, but no, we have too much stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. We can make that into an episode.
I think so.
I think that might be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else you want to touch on with
I don't know. I think we kind of hit it pretty good. Unless Jason's looking through his notes right there.
Well, I print out all this stuff, so some things that I find pretty interesting. Right. So I see out of office global office space vacancies at record high. Mm-hmm. It says office space vacancy rates in selected regions, and they have it's a pie chart. So it's not it's like a bar chart. So. Quarter 3 of 2019 and quarter 3 of 2023. So in North America, it was 13% in 19, 21% in 2023. In Asia Pacific, it's 10% in 2019, 15% in 2023.
Wow.
In Europe, 5%, 2019, 8% in 2023. And worldwide, it's 10% and 16% respectively. Mm. So there is an increase overall, but it seems like it's more pronounced in North America and Asia than it is in Europe. Mm. Then I think the Europeans kind of do things differently over there, how they work and kind of that culture of, it's not like the American and the Asian, which I think the Asians basically just copied the old American system. So, but that's what I have.
Yeah. All right. Well, if that's it for this one, then we as I've said on the past few episodes, we have the YouTube channels all figured out now. where you can go to the search bar and type at Retrospect Pod, and you should be able to find and subscribe there and give us some little brief comments on any of the episodes specifically, because they're all on there now. We also have the email address, getoffendedtogether@gmail.com, where you can give us your more long-form responses, or you can just also follow us on Facebook. Again, at Retrospect Pod. It's all the same. But anyways, until next week, thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Goodbye, everyone. God bless.
Thank you for hanging out with us today. You're the best. Peace.